And the reason for putting things on hold was just this spring. If you did not know, I joined OnRamp Invest initially as the VP of Marketing and Brand, and I have grown into the role of Chief of Staff. Still having my fingerprints, I guess, on marketing and branding because I love those, but taking a bigger role to help. Welcome to the Advisor of Tomorrow. Guess who's Bizak? I'm not going to go into the Jay-Z Scarface song. If you don't know, look it up. And I actually was debating upon, do I go Jay-Z or do I go LL Cool J and don't call it a comeback? But nonetheless, I decided on Jay-Z, and I'm excited to be back on the Advisor of Tomorrow. I thought I would do a quick kind of update episode, what's been going on, what to expect from the show going forward, and tease the first few episodes that I have coming out. From time to time, I'll do a solo episode like this as well. The plan is to always have it on YouTube, but let's get kind of caught up. And for those of you that don't subscribe to the Advisor of Tomorrow newsletter, it's currently on a hiatus. You're not missing anything, but you may not know why the podcast stopped, why there is a refresh to it now. If you were looking at it before, the thumbnail on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts was different. I've rebranded it now. So we'll kind of go through those decisions real quick. Short episode, but I'm glad to be back. I've missed podcasting. I've also put the Pursuit podcast over on All About Your Benjamins on hold as well. And the reason for putting things on hold was just this spring. If you did not know, I joined OnRamp Invest initially as the VP of Marketing and Brand, and I have grown into the role of Chief of Staff. Still having my fingerprints, I guess, on marketing and branding because I love those, but taking a bigger role to help Tyrone Ross kind of manage the team, grow the team, and be there to see OnRamp continue to grow and change our profession. So what I quickly learned was that the duties of Harmless Wealth, my time with AGC, and then also doing the OnRamp responsibilities was not going to allow me the ability to do everything that I was doing before. And I'm not sacrificing my time with my family, as you all well know. That's priority number one for me. So I realized I had to take inventory of the things I was doing and put some things on hold, and one of which was the newsletter. I will bring it back in the future. That was one of my favorite pieces of content to create. But when I looked at what did I need to be doing to move me forward in the things that were most important to me, following my passions, the newsletter kind of went on hold, which meant the podcast went on hold as well. I'm situated. We've got some changes going on at Harmless Wealth. By the time this drops, they should be complete, and we'll talk about them here in a moment. I've got a little agenda I want to go through, so we'll hit on that here. But now that things have settled, I've prioritized some time. I've got schedules set up. I thought I want to bring the podcast back, and I want to bring back Advisor of Tomorrow because I have a lot of things to share. I'm excited about where things are going for our profession, and I think there's a lot of value that I hopefully can provide to advisors out there and keep us moving forward. I realized that I really enjoy sharing my thoughts and having conversations with advisors out there, getting feedback on the episodes, hopping on Zooms, talking about things in the AGC, and I didn't want that to fall away for too long. So that is why I brought the podcast back. Again, the newsletter will come back in time, but for now, I think the podcast will suffice. So that's the reason for being back. I missed it, one. I have made some changes to my schedule, reprioritized things to free up time to do an episode. I'm going to do a couple episodes a month at minimum. The goal is to do it every couple of weeks, but you know me, I don't stick to schedules perfectly. And if I can get a third episode in or a random episode in, I'm going to do those as well. So there will be consistency that there will be podcasts every month. It could be 2, it could be 3, but I've got a great lineup. I've got the first 14 episodes already planned out. So consistency will be there. I'll give you an update on things that have been going on, mainly with Harmless Wealth. And again, this applies to the advisor audience that we have. But how am I able to make the OnRamp and Harmless Wealth two businesses work? And one of them I'm actually really excited about. By now, my colleague, Thomas Kopelman, has already launched his firm. So as I decided to take the Chief of Staff position at OnRamp, I realized that growing Harmless Wealth was not going to be something that would be a possibility. And to be completely honest with you, is not something that I wanted to do as much as I wanted to participate in OnRamp. So I had a conversation with Thomas. I don't think it was a tough one, honestly. It was tough for me to get started because I had made a decision that indirectly was going to be impacting him, and he didn't get a full say in it. But we just had a conversation about the direction of the firm, his growth, which has been crazy in this last year. And we're going to do a podcast about this spinoff that we did. But the growth that he was seeing, did not match up with where I wanted Arliss Wealth to go forward. To support his growth meant I would have to hire more staff members, which would just take more of my time, and it wasn't the direction I wanted to go. So rather than say, hey, Thomas, kick rocks, this is it, we had a conversation. We talked about paths that we could go. We didn't set a timeline. I didn't want to send him out on his own. I wanted to support him in whatever direction he went, which would either be joining another firm or ultimately launching his own firm, which is what he did and which I thought he should do. That was the direction I was encouraging him to go. And we spent the last couple of months in the background planning. So September 1st is going to be the official launch of All Street Wealth. We've already started to market it. I should say they've already started to market it. I have a blog post that I will drop that will share a lot of this as well, but give you some insight as the audience. But we have been in the background planning for this, slowly making sure everything's going to be there. We've already talked to clients. They know what's going on and been completely transparent. And you know, in our profession, usually when an advisor leaves, it's a disappearing act. It's a mystery. We don't know where the advisor went. Good luck finding them. We'll still take care of you. Maybe there's a non-compete to mess with. That was not what I wanted here. Thomas is a phenomenal advisor. If I wanted to grow the firm, there's no way I would let him go. But that didn't align with my values. And I talk about pursuing passions, and I would be a hypocrite and doing myself a disservice if I did not follow the path of on-ramp where I wanted to go. So my director of operations, shout out to Darlene, has been amazing in this, and she has been working in the background, building out our workflows, our automations, so that when Thomas starts All Street Wealth, those are already there. So clients will be getting the same emails they've always been getting. Thomas and Trayton, DeVore, his partner, don't have to create those things. We've been trying to put those all in place. So on September 1st, it is a seamless transition for everybody. The only difference will really be the name of the company on the statement, which I think is pretty cool. So workflows are there, automations are there. We've been building out the technology transition over. We have a letter that all clients are going to be signing, giving Arliss Wealth permission to share their information with All Street Wealth, so they don't have to go through the whole process again. And again, it's just like they've been working with Thomas. The only difference is the name of the company changes. And I'm pretty excited about this because I've never heard of this happening anywhere else. I'm sure it has, but not very often does an advisor support an advisor who is starting their own firm and leaving. Your competition doesn't want to help competition. That's not the way this works. That's not the way we view things. I want to make sure that Thomas is set up for nothing but success and his clients don't notice any difference. They get to keep on with their plans as they always had and have a good experience. The thing that's exciting about this for me is if you go back to an old episode with Ryan Shanks, I dropped this idea of an advisor. At the time, I was calling it incubator. I refined it to call it an advisor studio. And last year, I spent a lot of time business planning this concept of an advisor studio, which is I was pulling from the venture world. And basically, what I wanted to create was an environment where I could bring on an advisor that I felt was like-minded and would view things the way I would benefit from working alongside me for a period of time, invest in them, give them technology, help them build their brand, build a social presence, build a content strategy, build their website, build their business to a certain level, and then spin them off and take a small stake in that spin-off firm. So I'm investing in them all the way. They keep the revenue while they're working here, and then we spin them off, and then that's when I begin to recoup my investment as a silent partner. I really am excited about that idea, but now is not the time for it. But the cool thing is what happened over the last year with Thomas is proof of concept. So now I have proof of concept that this model will work. Thomas came in a little over a year ago with very little business, starting out his career where he came from, didn't have a lot of clients that followed over, had a few, and within a little over a year, having multiple clients onboarding a month, multiple inbound leads a month from his content strategy. And while Thomas gets full credit, he did all of the work. He followed the blueprint that I laid out. It was a blueprint that I had built for myself that we applied to Thomas. And when you take that blueprint, plus his hard work and his ability to be a great advisor and do great work, it got to a position where he is able to spin off now, just a year later, and have his own firm. I mentioned he's partnered with Trayton DeVore, who co-founded Peer Tree Planning. They've rebranded that as All Street Wealth, and they're going to be working together. It's going to be a tremendous team. I'm super excited for them. And I'm going to be there as a mentor and a resource to them all along the way so that as they continue to grow, if they have questions as running a business, I'm going to be there as a resource to help them out. But going back to the studio idea, I've got this proof of concept now that it can work. I had to go back and figure numbers for the future. I'm not taking any equity stake in All Street. That is all of them. but now I have this proof of concept that it can work and I can try it again in the future. So this is the podcast I will pull up in 5, 10 years. And when I'm ready to launch my advisor studio and say, hey, remember, I talked about it in 2020. Proof of concept actually happened accidentally in 2021. And now I'm ready to do this for real. Applications are open. So I'm really excited about that. But I think it's a cool way to help advisors on their path to ownership who might need some help getting along the way, get them to that position of growth, and then be there to help them and support them afterwards. I think it's really cool. So that is the big change at RLS Wealth. So we're going back to just myself and my director of operations, Darlene. We're not taking on any new clients, and we're just managing the existing relationships. By managing the existing relationships and not looking to grow, that frees me up to do more work and spend more time at OnRamp Invest and the AGC. And to be completely honest, the AGC is kind of running itself now. We hired a tremendous community manager named Mallory, and she's a rock star. So she's helping Taylor and I on the day-to-day and running the community to free us up to do more things. And the AGC is awesome right now. So I've been able to find this balance, which is perfectly in line with me pursuing my passions and creating the life that I want to live, that I talk about over and all about your Benjamins. I don't ever want to stop being a financial advisor. I don't ever want to give up the relationships that I currently have with my clients. I have relationships that are 15, 16 years old. They're basically family members, extended family. I'm not giving that up, but I don't necessarily feel the need to take on new clients in the time being. So those hours that would be dedicated towards bringing on new clients can be dedicated towards OnRamp and help building this company out that's going to change our profession. You may not believe it yet. You may not see it yet. But mark my word, mark Tyrone Ross's words, OnRamp Invest is going to change the advisory business for the future. It's going to pull the traditional world forward into the future world, the DeFi space, the crypto world, and maybe bring that world back a little bit down to match up with the existing traditional finance world as well. But I'm really excited about what's going on there. I want to be a part of that. One more little insight on how do you strike this balance. Fortunately, a lot of my clients are retired. So what we have done is reworked my schedule that the game plan is going to be do as many in the majority of my meetings with clients in the morning, 9, 10, or 11 in the morning. OnRamp is based out west. So by the time I'm done with those, everybody's kind of getting moving out there. Truth be told, everybody's moving all the time, but I can shift after the morning into OnRamp mode, but still be available for my clients. I have the flexibility to be able to meet with clients, take phone calls, take emails, and fit things in so I can do both. But I feel confident with the way we have things laid out for the whole year. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be client meetings. We'll have no more than 2 client meetings in the morning. That frees me up to be able to do the work that I need to do for my existing clients, be there, be present, be responsive, do that job first, and then shift over to OnRamp and have that balance between the two. So I've told RLS Wealth clients all along what's going on. Transparency has been something I've always been good at when it comes to my endeavors, whether it's the AGC or a t-shirt store or public speaking or consulting with advisors. Any endeavor I embark on, I always tell my clients before they're going to see it out on social media or in the public. I want them to know what's going on. I want them to know that they are priority number one and they come first. And then these other ventures that may come fit around them. And as long as I deliver upon that, that's what they experience. I don't believe there's going to be any issue. And knock on wood, there hasn't been any issues to this point. So that's the update on what's going on. We have this time we have spun Thomas off. All Street Wealth is, I'm sure, off and running and kicking. They're going to do a great job working with young professionals and millennials. I couldn't be happier for them. And honestly, within the first month of working with Thomas, I knew that this was a point that we would come to. I knew that he was going to outgrow RLS Wealth and what I wanted the company to be and would be starting his company one day. I'm super pumped for him and Trayton to partner up. They're like-minded. They're focused on millennials. They're going to work real well together, and they're going to be putting out awesome content and educating everybody along the way. So really, really excited about All Street. The three of us are going to sit down, and we're going to talk about the experience, talk about the process of hiring Thomas and that first year together, and my learning to be a manager and a leader and a mentor, the things I didn't do very well, the things maybe I did do well, and then this process of getting their firm up and running, what they're thinking about and what they're excited about. So I think it'll be a real cool conversation to share that there is a different way that we can go about growing businesses, setting up new businesses, and the way that advisors can work together. It doesn't have to be the way it's always been in the past. So I'm really excited about that. What to expect from the podcast going forward? I mentioned earlier, there's going to be YouTube and podcast versions of everything. The goal is 2 episodes a month. Most of those will be guest driven. So I have Adaro Asuni, who's going to be coming on, Emily Bender. I've got Jack Butcher lined up. Obviously, we'll have some of the crew, Tyrone, Keen Sawyer, Caitlin Cook from OnRamp. My OnRamp family will join as well as we talk about crypto from time to time. But then going to continue to go back to talk about marketing and branding, technology, best practices. It's going to be very similar to what it was in the past, other than now we're going to bring this crypto DeFi space to you because I do think it's very important for advisors to continue to learn just for conversation purposes. But I think as you dive down this rabbit hole and learn more about it, you're going to get excited about it and want to learn more and see how it might incorporate into your practice with your clients. So there will be a little bit more crypto and DeFi than we've had in the past, but this will not be a crypto only. This will not be an on-ramp only podcast, although it is presented by OnRamp. I'm super excited to have my first presented by podcast. OnRamp Invest is presenting every podcast. There will be some of us there, but it's not going to be an on-ramp advertisement every week. Very rarely will it actually be an on-ramp advertisement, except for when I say presented by OnRamp Invest. So that is what to expect from the podcast. That's it for this first episode. I just wanted to get everybody up to speed. I wanted to get that first episode done. Again, you're going to have Odaro Suni coming on pretty soon. There's a very special treat at the very end of that episode. I can't wait for you to hear that. It was a great conversation with one of our future leaders. Emily Bender is going to be coming on and talk about the voice technology. We are leveraging that at OnRamp. We have a multi-day throughout the week skill that is dropping information about crypto news, terms, updates with the company. It's kind of like a audio newsletter, if you will. And I'm going to be incorporating a audio skill for myself at RLS Wealth to communicate with my clients more. And I'm thinking about doing an Advisor of Tomorrow one also. Those are real short. They're easy to do. They don't take very long. No editing needs to go into it. So Emily will tell us all about that. And then I want Jack Butcher to come on and talk about the edge of the internet where he lives and talk about that with us as well. So super excited. All right. I mentioned I'm excited to be back. Glad to have the podcast rolling again. Thank you for tuning in. Let's keep this level or this communication open. Leave some comments down below if you're watching on YouTube. Leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. Let me know what I'm doing well. Let me know what I could do better on. If you have any guests or topics you want to see covered, let me know as well. I'm easily accessible on Twitter at Justin Castelli. DMs are always open. I'll also be doing a little bit more writing over on justincastelli.io/blog. That's where the show notes for the podcast will all live as well. But going to be writing about branding, marketing, a little bit of the future of the profession. From time to time, I'll just write about some entrepreneurial things, some startup world stuff. But that's where I'll be writing to advisors. All About Your Benjamins is going to continue to exist for my clients and for consumers. That's not going away. The mixtape will still be there. The weekend review video. From time to time, I'll write about issues that are pertinent to the financial planning practice from a client standpoint. But if it is about business, if it's about marketing, if it's about branding, it's going to be over on the justincastelli.io blog. And again, that's justincastelli.io/blog. You can find all that. I redid that website. I really am happy with that. My web designer, shout out to Andy Kennedy, knocked it out of the park again. So I'm really excited with how that looks and how we repositioned it. I want to comment on that before I go. The reason I redid the website is I wanted the personal website to reflect where I am today. When I first set that website up, my goal was to work with more of you advisors, one-on-one consulting, get into more public speaking, and grow in that area. Decided for right now, that's not where I want to be. Again, OnRamp excites me more. So the new website reflects more of where I am today. I'm an owner of a firm. I am a chief of staff at a tech company. I'm a co-founder of an online community. Link out to all those websites so you can find it. I started a new little store, an extension brand called Pursuit. I'll do an episode on that. I think it's a creative way to potentially market for the firm, even though I'm not growing it anymore, and why I wanted to start a brand. That'll be a fun episode just to talk about the stores on the website as well. And then I wanted to get back to writing. So a new redesigned website that I really love, a little color scheme change that aligns with my favorite colors now. So I just think that it speaks to the importance of making sure that your digital presence matches your presence of where you are in that moment. So the old website did not reflect what I'm about today, who I am as an advisor, who I am as a business person. So I felt like I needed to change that to reflect that. So, all right. You all know I like to get talking and rambling. I'm running out of time. Got to hop on an OnRamp Invest all hands on meeting every Friday at 12. We get together, have great guests come in and talk to us, and just team building. So looking forward to sharing more of the journey with you, but most importantly, sharing with you what I think are things advisors should be paying attention to as we move this progression forward. We are advisors of tomorrow. We are not advisors of the past. We're looking forward. We're building our businesses to where the profession is going. And I'm excited to be a part of that and share what I think and have conversations with you about that. So I will let you get going. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check back as the episodes come, and we will have a good time talking about the future of the profession. Have a great one, and we'll see you all in the next episode.